Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Today, we're playing Baldur's Gate 2. Enhanced Edition. I started, of course, a new exploring series on Dungeons and Dragons. And so I was thinking, well, maybe I should do, like, some Dungeons and Dragons video game. And so I thought, well, why not do a Let's Play of the greatest D&D video game, and of course one of the greatest role-playing games in general of all time, Baldur's Gate 2, which I have attempted to do some co-op LPs in the past that have never worked out at all. So this time we're doing it solo, and we're doing it right. Baldur's Gate 1 came out in 1998. I played it back in the... I don't remember exactly when, but I did play it first. I remember enjoying it, but not really getting far in it. It seemed really difficult and complicated. I'm sure I was a kid. And then Baldur's Gate 2 came out in 2000. I don't know if I played it immediately then or later on, but Baldur's Gate 2 I really latched onto. I think in general it's just a better game, but also I was probably older, a little bit wiser, and I could grasp how the game worked a little better. I really took to it. Fantastic stuff. I didn't actually beat it until many years later. Probably I was like 19 or something. And so I beat the game for the first time as a solo assassin, I guess. I beat through all of Shadows of Amn, the main campaign, and then the expansion, Throne of Baal. I just had a fucking blast doing it. It was awesome. Just love it. Because I didn't enjoy all the micromanaging of all the different characters. You know, I just liked having my one character that could do anything. I mean, he couldn't do everything. He wasn't a spellcaster. He was just like an assassin, thief type character. But I could beat the whole game, and it was really cool figuring out how to progress in certain, how to complete certain fights and how to get past certain things using only my single assassin character. It was a really cool experience. I beat the game again some years later as a solo sorcerer, because I learned that's apparently the best solo class. I did not realize that initially. So I was like, okay, I'll try a solo sorcerer. And I beat through Shadows of Amn. I don't think I did Throne of Baal that time, but I beat the game again. It was really cool again. So that was probably like 5 years ago or so. So now we're going to go through it again. We're going to do Shadows of Amn. We're going to do Throne of Baal, hopefully. This is the Enhanced Edition. We'll get to that in a second. They also added the Black Pits, which I have not ever touched. I don't know anything about that. I don't know if it's worth touching. But at the very least, I want to do Shadows of Amn, the main campaign. And we are going to be going solo this time. I know some people would prefer to have all the extra party members and blah, 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 but I like the solo experience. I think that's the most interesting. That's just me. That's my taste. So... The Lord of Murder shall perish, but in his death he shall spawn a score of mortal progeny. Chaos shall be sown in their footsteps. So saith the wise Alando.
You spent your youth in the library fortress of Candlekeep. under the kind tutelage of your foster father Gorion. Imoen shared this home, a kindred spirit. Her background was as mysterious as your own. Gorion's murder brought answers to your questions when his killer Saravak was revealed to be your brother. You and Saravak were a product of the time of troubles, a chaotic period when gods were made flesh and forced to walk the earth. One such deity foresaw his own death and walked the land before the cataclysm. He left a score of mortal offspring, intended to be the fuel for his rebirth. The god was Baal, Lord of Murder, and you are one of his children. Saravak sought a war of sacrifice to prove his worth, believing he could become the new Lord of Murder. You killed your brother, sending his taint back to Baal. You were the hero of Baldur's Gate, but some suspected you shared the same lineage as Saravak. You departed soon after, under circumstances much darker than anyone would have believed. They came as you rested, figures cloaked in mist that clouded your thoughts, blurring the lines between consciousness and dreaming. There was no malice or hatred, no mention of an old score, only quick capture and the promise of grim deeds to come.
Okay, that was super loud, but super creepy. Good stuff. Drop that, and drop all this down. So, this is, of course, obviously a sequel to Baldur's Gate 1. You play the same character, technically, from the first game. But I wouldn't say it's really required almost at all to play the first game to appreciate the second. The plot is pretty standalone. You know, it has a standalone villain. There are reoccurring characters that'll pop up and they'll be like, hey, remember me? And you can just be like, no, I don't remember you at all. What the fuck? It's not required to play the first game at all, so don't worry about it too much. I mean, I have not touched the first game in a long time. Perhaps I should go back to it, but I don't have any like nostalgia for it. So the enhanced editions came out, I think, a few years ago by Beamdog, I believe, to sort of make them fully compatible with modern systems and add in some cut content and things like that. I think they integrate some. They add some new stuff. They fix a few things. Overall, it's, I guess, the definitive version. So that's what we're playing. Additionally, there is a Baldur's Gate 2 tweak pack that people have released. I mean, it's a tweak pack for like every one of these types of games, like all these D&D CRPGs. So I got that for the enhanced edition. It's insane how many tweaks they have available to you. All these little options you can change and adjust and blah, 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 fixes and changes. I can't even go into how many and all the different stuff there was. And honestly, if you have never played the game before, you probably wouldn't even realize most of the things that changes. I'll point out some of the stuff that I notice. But, yeah, there's some really cool stuff in there to really tweak the game to your liking. Alright, we're starting a new game, which means we start with creating our singular character, our main character. will be male, I suppose. And of course, old school, you get these nice portraits. They've got a bunch of new portraits for Baldur's Gate 2. They also have available some of the old school ones from Baldur's Gate 1. You can put in custom portraits, of course, so you can put in your own face. I'm sure Enhanced Edition added some more, blah, blah, blah. Typically, I just roll with this guy. But maybe we should go with one of the more strange ones. There you go. That guy looks all right. All right, then we have race: human, elf, half elf, dwarf, halfling, gnome, half orc. So humans can be basically everything, although with the tweak pack, pretty much everything can be everything, so it's not really a big deal anymore. All the other races get little tweaks. They get some advantages, they get some disadvantages. Elves get +1 dexterity, -1 constitution. They get plus Thaco bonus. So Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 are based on AD&D 2nd edition, which is pretty old at this point. There's some archaic stuff in there that modern D&D players might not be familiar with, most notably Thaco, to hit AC 0. It's sort of a weird, if you played D&D recently, you're familiar with the modern armor class system. Higher numbers are better, you roll to hit high numbers, and then you hit stuff. Thaco is sort of the opposite. You're rolling to hit AC 0. It's weird. I still don't really understand it. But bonuses are good. They get a bonus to hit with bows, short swords, long swords. They get some thieving skill bonuses, resistance against charm and sleep, and they have infravision. Half elves get parts of that. Obviously, it doesn't seem as good as to be a half elf to be an elf, but there's the whole, the different races have different classes available to them. Normally, I don't know if we have that anymore with these tweak packs. I might have removed all that. Dwarves, some saving throw bonuses, infravision, some more thieving bonuses, +1 constitution, -1 dex, -2 charisma. Halflings, saving throw bonuses, Thaco bonus with slings, some thief bonuses, +1 dex, -1 strength, -1 wisdom. Gnome, saving throw bonuses, infravision, thief skills, +1 intelligent, -1 wisdom. And half orc get infravision, +1 strength, +1 constitution, -2 intelligence. Obviously, they make very good fighters. So we're just going to roll with human. It's very boring, but it works. Then we have our classes. So these include the base classes, obviously, and then they also include the multi-classes. So you have fighter, ranger, paladin, cleric, druid, mage, thief, bard, sorcerer, monk, shaman. I believe shaman is from the enhanced edition. I don't believe that's in the original. Then the multi-classes is basically just mixes of fighter, mage, thief, cleric, or you can be a cleric ranger. So most of these are pretty self-explanatory. One you might be questioning if you're not too familiar with D&D is the difference between mage and sorcerer. Thematically, a mage learns their spells. A sorcerer knows their it's innate. They are born with magic. As far as Baldur's Gate 2 is concerned, mages have to scribe their spells, so they can find scrolls, I think, and then they can scribe them into their spell book. Well, long story short, sorcerer's better in every way. You want to be a sorcerer, that's what we're going to be doing. They get fewer spells, but they get to cast spells more often. So, you know, in D&D, you get a certain number of spell casts per day, and then you have to rest to get your spells back. Sorcerers have less options of how many different types of spells they can cast, but they get to do more spells per day, which, for being a solo class, that's more important, because we have to do everything ourselves. So we need more spell casts. So yeah, we're going to be a sorcerer. Otherwise, like I said, I've done it as a thief. We haven't gotten into the subclasses or the kits yet. But I basically did a subclass, I suppose, of thief, where you... Actually, I don't even know if it was an assassin or if it was like a trap guy. I don't remember. Assassins, you see, thieves get a bonus for backstabbing. Assassins get even bigger bonuses for backstabbing. So, with an assassin, using stealth all the time, you can just one-shot most things. And then you'd basically run and hide and stealth again, come back, one-shot something else, leave. I'm making it sound way well, I guess it is pretty cheesy, but it's still pretty tricky sometimes. A lot of enemies can see stealth characters, and yeah, it's tricky sometimes. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna be a sorcerer. Now, sorcerers only have one kit here that they could take, so you can just be a default sorcerer, which is what we're going to be, but you can also be a dragon disciple. These are sorcerers with dragon blood in their lineage. So they get bonuses to armor class and constitution as they go up in level. They get fire resistance as they go up in level, and they also get to use breath weapon like a dragon. You can breathe a gout of flame up to 30 feet long, inflicting 3d8 points of fire damage on all creatures caught within the 140-degree cone. And this damage goes up to 48, 5d8, up to 8d8, so on and so forth. So you get all these good, nice advantages. The disadvantage, if you pick Dragon Disciple, is you get one fewer cast. One fewer spell per level per day. So, if you could normally cast 5 level 1 spells per day, you would be able to cast 4. It's not a huge disadvantage, and it's possible that it's actually worth it to pick Dragon Disciple. I don't know. I don't know what the theory craft, what people have said about it. Let me look. It might be fun. I don't think... I definitely didn't do it for... I don't know if it's new with Enhanced Edition or what. I'll just Google. Okay. Dragon Disciple. By the speculation of quite a number of players, Dragon Disciple may be okay on its own, but is definitely inferior to Sorcerer, according to this random person on the internet. If you know what you're doing, Sorcerer is widely considered the easiest solo, with Dragon Disciple not far behind. Yeah, I mean, I probably could do it as Dragon Disciple, but we like spellcast, so we're just going to be the Sorcerer. Now, the other things, going with the Sorcerer, we can't wear any armor. Although technically with the tweaks, I believe we can wear armor, but I probably won't abuse that. I probably shouldn't have installed that tweak. We can only use daggers, quarterstaff, darts, slings. That's not a big deal. Can only become proficient 1 slot in any weapon class. Again, not a big deal. Cannot place any slots in any fighting style. Okay. And we can cast arcane spells. That's pretty good. All right, now alignment. Now, when you play Dungeons and Dragons, say 5th edition, this doesn't really mean anything. This is just sort of for role-playing purposes. For Baldur's Gate, however, it does have some mechanical considerations. You get a few innate abilities that you can cast every day based on your alignment. So, like a chaotic evil character, I think gets like vampiric touch or something like that. Whereas a really good character might get like a heal. I don't remember exactly what it is. It's not a huge deal. But there, I want to look it up just to make sure. Periodic neutral because it's fun. I don't know if that's... I mean, I guess. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. Oh, apparently it affects your starting reputation as well. Lawful good starts with the highest reputation, which means you get a bigger discount at stores. Which is certainly a good thing. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. Alright, we'll be lawful good because we're probably going to play a sort of a lawful good character. Alright, abilities. So these are entirely... I mean, you can go up and minus on stuff, but otherwise it's based on a roll of the dice. Now, the thing is, though, there is a maximum for each stat based on your class and race. So this is normally like 18 or so for each number. But there's also a minimum, meaning that if you roll the dice under your minimum, it will automatically bump it up. And that's how you get a sort of a higher total roll number, is that the game is basically giving you free numbers. So 90 would be really nice. We don't want to spend too much time here just because I don't want to bother too much. But right now our high is 86, and we can store that number if we want to get back to it if I get frustrated. Ideally, though, we'd shoot for 90, I believe, from what I remember. You don't want to do this too fast because you obviously might click off something real good. It's not the most elegant character creation system, and obviously you would never do this in D&D when playing it, so it's sort of weird. That's why I don't like spending too much time with it. I'm not that big on min-maxing. And we want to get to the spells. We might just settle for 86, which is pretty good, as you can see. We'll go 10 more times here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10. Okay. 88. That's solid. Okay. So, of course, intelligence is going to be very important for us. So we want that at 18. Strength, not so important. Constitution, of course, we wanted 18 because we need the most health we can get because we're a solo character. Charisma, I wouldn't mind having... Well, there's a ring you can get very early on that sets your charisma at 18. meaning that anytime you need to chat, you can just equip the ring. So it's sort of a dump stat. It might have other uses beyond that. The thing that I'm most questioning is wisdom. I honestly don't remember how important it is. There might be saving throw considerations. Let's see here. Oh, look at this. This guy says scrap intelligence. Oh. Like I said, I haven't played this in a while, and obviously a lot filters out. I guess you don't need intelligence because that's only for a mage to determine how many spells you can memorize. So you want a high con, decent dex, charisma, wisdom. I can definitely see dex. I'm almost certain that's related to some saving throws. So all right, we'll scrap in and we'll go for wisdom. And dex. Strength is nice to have, and once again, you don't really need it. Maybe I'll just settle for this. I'm certain there's going to be some better ways to do this, but I think as long as we have 18 con, everything else is okay. All right, skills. So, these are proficiency slots. So these, you're better at using weapons you're more proficient with. Now, if you're a cool fighting class or something, you can get really, really proficient with certain weapons. You can become a Grand Master by putting 5 points into a certain weapon. And obviously, if you're a fighter, you're going to do something like that. As a sorcerer, we can only put 1 point into a weapon, which just means we don't have any penalties. Now, chances are quarterstaff is going to be what we end up using. But beyond that, probably darts. Hard to say. I guess early on we might as well go quarterstaff and two-handed weapon style, so then we're somewhat capable with just our quarterstaff. All right, spells, finally. So, there are quite a good number of spells in the game. They probably added some. It auto-selected some for us, but we'll just unclick all this. All right. Armor. This increases your armor class because normally you can't wear any armor. So having spells that increase your armor mean you're less likely to get hit, which is good. Blindness blinds the target, so they suffer a penalty to hit rolls in armor class. Burning hands shoots out fire in a cone. Oh, not a cone. It's just a line, really. Does 1d3 plus 2 points per level to a max of 1d3 plus 20. I mean, at level 1, it's fine, but it doesn't really scale as well as we'd like. Charm person. This lets you charm any humanoid to fight on your behalf for a little while. Chill touch. This is a melee spell attack. 1d8 points of damage and -2 THAC0 penalty for 5 rounds. Chromatic orb. This is a good one. You shoot out this orb, and it goes up in effect as you gain levels, and it becomes pretty painful. It starts off just doing 1d4 damage and blinding the target. As you go, though, 1d6 burns the target, 1d8 stuns the target for 3 rounds. That's good. 1d10 paralyzes for 2 turns. 10th level is when it really kicks into gear, though. 1d12 and turns the victim to stone, meaning they're pretty much instantly dead. and then at 12th level, 2d8 instantly kills the victim, meaning that the 2d8 is not that important, but they do get a saving throw versus the effect of all these things, not the damage. So it's always going to be some good damage, but the effect is just the cherry on top. Color spray shoots out this spray that can knock things out, sort of like sleep. Find familiar, you can get like a little cat to go with you, which is something. Friends, you gain 6 points of charisma temporarily. Again, there's that ring, so it's not, you'd never take it, but it's there. Grease, you oil up the floor so they can fall down. They can't get up. Identify, we'll probably be taking that. Infravision, this was mentioned earlier with the races. It's not really that, whatever. Larlock's Minor Drain, guaranteed 4 damage, and you gain 4 HP back. It sure is minor. Magic Missile is almost certainly something we're going to be taking, guaranteed. You create up to 5 missiles of magical energy. They strike a target for 1d4 plus 1 points of damage each, and for every 2 extra levels of you get an additional missile. So it starts with just 1, and then by 9th level you have the total of 5. But still, at level 1, you're shooting out 1d4 plus 1 points of damage. This may not sound like a lot, but at the start, it's a good amount. And so it scales pretty well. You know, you're doing 5d4 plus 5 at 9th level, which is not too shabby for a little level 1 spell. Protection from evil. Anything that is evil aligned, a creature gets a penalty to attack you. Protection from petrification, obviously. Reflected image. So this is sort of like, this is a weaker version of mirror image. You create a little duplicate of yourself. Whenever something attacks you, they have a 50% chance to hit you, 50% chance to hit the duplicate. So it's another defensive thing, much like Shield, which buffs your armor class, a lot like Wizard. And for some reason it grants you immunity to Magic Missile. Shocking Grasp, this is another melee range thing. 1d8 damage, plus 1 per level of the caster. Grasp itself does 1d2 fist damage. Strength bonuses apply. Yeah. Sleep. Same thing. They get a saving throw, otherwise they fall asleep, and you can hit them automatically. I don't think we'll be taking it. It's not too good for just a solo wizard. And Spook. It causes targets to run away. Now, there's a few things that stand out here. Again, Magic Missile, absolutely one of the best spells to have. Beyond that, a lot of level 1 spells are questionable. I like Chromatic Orb a lot. We're going to be using that as we go up. We should have some defensive thing between armor or shield. This lasts 9 hours. Shield lasts 1 hour. But I think lower numbers for armor class is better. I believe. So I think shield is better, which would make sense. It lasts less time. So we'll go with shield. Beyond that, this sorcerer guide does not recommend identify, actually. And you don't need identify to identify items. You can go to shopkeepers and things like that, or you can just I guess maybe we don't need it. It recommends Find Familiar. Which could be fun. It boosts your health points. We get a pseudo dragon. It can do some damage. Sure, why not? It could be cool. And then it recommends Spook, actually. Causes targets to run away. Sure. Like I said, there's not too many great choices at level 1, so we'll go with those. Level 2. Recommend some shit-ass spells. We get 3 choices here for level 2. And I know this is taking a while just for character creation, but this is interesting stuff. Agonazer's Scorcher. This is a single target jet of flame. 3d6 damage, which is pretty good. At the start of the game, that's very good. That's going to scorch a lot of stuff. Blur. This just increases... This is a defensive skill again. All missile and melee attacks get a -3 penalty, and you get a +1 bonus to all your saving throws. It's very nice to have on, but it doesn't last incredibly long. 4 rounds plus 2 rounds per level. So this is not like an 8-hour thing. Deafness. This mainly affects spellcasters because you have to speak in order to cast spells. So if they can't hear anything, it's harder to cast a spell, I guess. Detect evil. Nope. Detect invisibility. Yeah, that has uses. Allows you to see anything that's invisible. Most of the time, it's pretty obvious to tell. And we'll deal with them in other ways, but you could take that. Ghoul Touch. This is a melee spell cast. Does 1d2 damage, blah, blah, blah. But most importantly, it's a save or be paralyzed for 5 rounds. Glitter Dust. This blinds in a big AoE and reveals invisible creatures. Horror. This is an AoE fear. So they will flee in terror. Invisibility. This makes you invisible. Which definitely has uses in a solo playthrough. I don't know if we'll be taking it, but it's uses. Knock opens locked objects. Pretty damn important for a solo playthrough. We'll almost certainly end up with this. I just don't know if we're taking it immediately. No alignment. We're not even talking about that. Luck. It's a buff. You get +1 bonus to saving throws, attack rolls, and minimum damage healing rolls, as well as a +5 to all thieving skills. That's weird. Melf's Acid Arrow. Very basic, just single target, acid spell, does 2d4 points of acid damage, like, per round. So the acid sticks around and keeps doing damage for a little bit. This is pretty much your earliest way of doing acid damage, which is a great way to kill trolls. Mirror Image. This is just like that other level 1 spell, except you create a number of duplicates, so it's just a better version. Power Word Sleep. Just a better version of sleep. It only affects 1 creature, but it's much more likely to go through. Brave Enfeeblement. Reduces a target's strength by... Well, it reduces it to 5. So, spellcasters, that doesn't do much of anything, but fighters, that's pretty rough. Resist Fear, Stinking Cloud, produces a big cloud of poisonous gas. This doesn't actually do any damage, it just makes them fall down. Strength buffs somebody's strength to 18 and then adds 50% bonus on top of it. So... yeah, I don't think we'll be taking it, but there it is. Vocalize. This lets you cast spells even if you are silenced. We won't be taking it. And Web. This immobilizes targets in an area. Okay, so of course Mirror Image is one of the best defensive abilities possible at this point. Very good. Taking Melf's Acid Arrow, again, like I said, it's a surefire way to kill trolls early on, which we don't encounter many of, but you want to have this. It's also just a good damaging spell. And this guide here recommends Web. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a defensive thing. There's a lot of melee enemies early on, and if you can just freeze them and then blast them at your leisure, I understand. I'd like to pick Knock, but oh well. All right, and then level 3. Yes, we even get a couple level 3 spells. We get to talk about some more magic. Things start getting pretty cool here. Clairvoyance lets you just see a big part of the map. Detect illusion cancels any illusion spells of 3rd level or lower, including invisibility and mirror image. Dire Charm. It's just a better version of Charm. Yep. Spell magic removes any magical effects upon anyone within a 15-foot radius, including effects from spells, potions, and certain magical items such as wands. It doesn't turn off, like, enchanted magical items, though. Like, if you have a magical cloak, it won't disable that. So it removes buffs, mostly. Fireball. I can't imagine we don't take this, but actually the guide does not recommend it because, honestly, it's so easy to kill yourself with. It's a big radius. It's hard to gauge in this game exactly where it's gonna blow up, and I've killed myself plenty of times with Fireball. It does 1d6 per level of the caster, up to 10d6. So if you take this early on, you can easily blow up an entire group of enemies and just done. It's very cool. It's pretty iconic, but I can see why we don't take it. Flame Arrow, again, another single target. Pretty fucking powerful. 1d6 piercing plus 4d6 fire. They get a save versus the fire damage to get it halved. Ghost Armor. It's just a better version of armor. Brings you down to AC 2, because like I said, lower AC is better. So AC 2 is the equivalent of field plate armor. Haste. You get -2 initiative, and you get an extra attack per round. Haste is extremely good on fighters, on like melee characters. It's like Final Fantasy Haste, like you want it. For a spellcaster, it's far less important. It does let us cast spells quicker, I think, but it's the extra attack per round does not benefit us. Hold person, hold 1d4 humanoids, hold undead, 1d4 undead, invisibility 10-foot radius, so this is a group invisibility, which doesn't help us. Lightning bolt shoots out a lightning bolt, does 1d6 per level, so much like a fireball, but it's not an AoE. It'll hit anything in a line. Normally, the lightning bolt will bounce off walls, but one of the tweaks I installed disabled that. Because I believe it's just very easy to hit yourself with again. Melf's Minute Meteors. Amazing spell. I'm going to click it right now because it's so good. And I know this for a fact. The guide recommends it as number 1. It's a very good spell. Basically, when you cast it, you conjure up a number of meteors in your hand. You basically equip them, and then you can throw them like you're using a sling or something, and you get a +5 bonus to the attack roll, which is very good. They do a tiny little bit of AoE damage. Usually it's single target though. 1d4 plus 3 points of damage plus an additional 3 points of fire damage guaranteed to any creature struck. So it's very likely to hit, and it just does very solid damage, especially early on. It doesn't scale very well, from what I remember. There's no implied scaling here in the text. So it doesn't get used much later on, but early on, this is like your fucking boss-killing shit. It's really good. Minor spell deflection lets you deflect certain low-level spells off your body. You know, a lot of those single target damaging spells. Monster summoning. You get to summon up random monsters, and they help you out until they die, or until a certain number of time is up. Probably they die. Non-detection makes you undetectable by divination spells. Yeah, let's grab that. Protection from cold, protection from fire, protection from normal missiles such as arrows. Remove magic. It's like Dispel, but it only works on opponents, which is what we would be. I mean, Dispel magic you can cast on yourself to remove debuffs, but this is just on enemies. Skull Trap, we'll be taking this as well. Another very good combat spell. You throw this little skull out into the world, and it just hovers there until something comes close to it. So normally in combat, it'll just explode the next round. And then it explodes out in a big radius and does 1d6 per level of the caster, which is pretty solid. It's just a sort of a better fireball, to be honest. It's not nearly as cool looking, but it's a lot easier to use without hurting yourself. It's one I pretty much always take, and they recommend it as the second choice. Slow, basically the opposite of haste. Spell Thrust. This dispels any spell protection, so it's sort of a specific remove magic. Vampiric Touch. It's a melee drain spell. Does 1d6 per 2 levels, and you get the health points that you steal. Wraith Form. I believe this is a new spell for the Enhanced Edition. All your gear becomes insubstantial. You're subject only to magical or special attacks. Basically, weapons of +1 or better. It's not bad, but we already have enough defensive stuff, so we're going to take Flame Arrow. The single target damage on this is... Oh, we actually can't. Okay. You're right. So, we have Melf's Minute Meteors then for single target. Next spell we get is going to be Flame Arrow. Alright. Appearance, I always like to go like black, maybe with a little white. Let's go like... There we go. And we'll go with old Mangg. Accept. Alright, difficulty. So core rules is the default AD&D mechanics. Enemies deal full damage, party members can permanently die, spells aren't guaranteed to be copied to spellbooks. That doesn't... So really, the only thing that affects us here is enemies deal full damage. If we go with normal mode, enemies deal 25% less damage, and our hit point rolls are maximized. I'm fine with core rules.
Ah, the child of Baal has awoken. It is time for more experiments. The pain will only be passing. You should survive the process. Interesting. You have much untapped power. Do you even realize your potential?
More intruders have entered the complex, Master.
They act sooner than we had anticipated. No matter, they will only prove a slight delay.
Wake up, you. Wake up! Come on, we have to get out of here.
Who are you? Who am I? You messed with your head too, huh? I'm Imoen. We lived in the same place for years. I guess I can't blame you for forgetting. All I remember is us getting jumped near Baldur's Gate. It was quick. I don't think I want to remember it all. He's been doing things to us. Mangg, we have to get out of here. Can I trust you? I don't remember a thing. It must be because he's been messing with our heads. I don't remember much, but I know it hurt. Mangg, I just have to get out of here. We'll get out and then figure out what's going on. Good, because I don't know if I could get loose again if I had to. Not with the pain in my head. It isn't like a normal pain, Mangg. It's on the inside, like my bones made a little dagger and it won't go away. Don't look at me like that. It just hurts, alright? Must have been the noise. There was a fight. Assassins came after our captor, I think. There's people dead all over, and the fighting is still going on. I could hear it. Are you gonna get moving, or do I leave without you? Let's go. Good, I didn't want to go by myself. I need you around, Mangg. Don't want to be here alone. We should look in that room to the west first. West and just a bit north. I think I saw some weapons in there. It's a room off the corner of this one. I don't think it's our gear. They probably sold our best stuff, but anything is better than nothing. Now let's go. Alright. So we met the villain of the game, John Irenicus, although we don't know him by that name yet. One of the greatest villains in video game history, I think. But we'll get into more of that later. So we'll leave it off here. I know all we did was create our character, which was a lengthier process because I explained everything. But next time we'll really dive into the game. It's going to be very exciting. I'm looking forward to it. My name is Mangg. Game watching has been Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition. I'll see you fine folks in the next part.